With Marvel Rivals debuting, taking the world by storm, I started thinking, what makes a great hero shooter? Cool characters and gameplay mechanics. At least, that's what hooked me back when Overwatch first came out when I was a little middle schooler. Many hero shooters have come and gone for numerous different reasons. It's genuinely really tough to get audiences excited and to make them keep coming back. But do you know what I think would actually cook if you had a hero shooter filled with anime characters? Oh my god. Oh my god. Anime is just increasing in popularity every year. I've watched anime, you've watched anime, I think. I put together a dream roster of what I'd want this anime hero shooter to look like. Granted, I haven't seen every anime that's ever come out, so there is a bunch of characters that I did leave out. If you don't see a character that you want, that you think should be in this game, tell me about it in the comments down below. And if enough of you guys like it, I might even make a part 2. But anyway, you get it. You know what we're gonna talk about today. Let's start off with the first class of characters, the tanks. The first character that I think would be really cool is Eren Yeager. With his ability to not only be in human form, but also go into a Titan form whenever he so chooses, he'd be the perfect character to reflect characters like Hulk and D.Va in other hero shooters. Eren is primarily going to spend most of the game in his Titan form, only appearing on the battlefield as himself when his Titan form is killed. From then on, the fragile and weak Eren that we know and love has to run around the battlefield waiting for his Titan transformation cooldown to reset so he could transform once again. The fact that he could harden himself in Titan form just makes him the perfect dive tank in my eyes. Jumping into the enemy team, causing a giant distraction. I've been trying to brainstorm what a solid ultimate ability would look like, and I think I know what I would choose. Upon activation, Eren would summon an army of Titans to run around the battlefield, just adding to the chaos. Eren Yeager is super popular. It just makes sense for him to be in this game. Edward Elric. Now, Edward's kit in Fullmetal Alchemist makes the most sense in terms of being a DPS hero, but I think he'd fit much better in a different class because of one key concept: the law of equivalent exchange. In Fullmetal Alchemist, Ed is only able to output his alchemy if he inputs something of equal value. So I was just thinking, what could Ed possibly sacrifice in this game that is worth using his abilities? His health bar. Ed is going to have one of the highest health bars in the game, but he's going to be sacrificing his health to be able to use his abilities. I can see him putting up stone walls to block damage, sending out electricity to stun enemies, or fighting with his metal arm in case an enemy gets close. For his ultimate ability, I'd want the brothers to be reunited, with Alphonse appearing running around the battlefield assisting his brother. It just sounds so cool. King. Now, this might come as a huge shocker to you guys, but let me explain. I don't want this list to just be full of main characters because that's very boring and predictable. When looking at the One Punch Man roster, I wanted to grab someone other than Saitama for 2 reasons. Number 1, I tried thinking of a moveset for Saitama and realized no matter what you do, he kind of just breaks the game. And number 2, having another character besides Saitama in the game just allows for a more creative and fun kit to be made. All Saitama really does is just walk around and punch people. He just punches them once! King in my eyes would be the perfect character because his abilities would center around gaining assistance from his friends. You could have Genos shooting down lasers from the sky, Fubuki sending out tornadoes to assist, having Child Emperor or some of the other top-rated heroes come out and help as well. And obviously, if we are talking about One Punch Man, we can't leave out Saitama, so King's ultimate ability is going to call upon Saitama to appear, one-shotting the enemies. It sounds a little broken. That's why I don't make video games, I just make YouTube videos. I just love the idea of having this hero running around, but he's not actually doing anything. Jotaro Kujo. This is an obvious choice when you look at the JoJo's roster, I know, but he just makes so much sense to me. His stand, Star Platinum, can serve as a source of damage or a giant shield for Jotaro and his allies. He's going to be a heavy, frontline, melee-centered tank. He'd probably be a bit of a basic character in terms of kit, honestly. But hey, for his ultimate ability, we'll have him stop time for 3 seconds. Blackbeard. Okay, this is our first villain on the list. Blackbeard is going to be another frontline tank focusing on catching and disrupting enemies. He'll disable enemy abilities with the usage of his Dark Fruit. Blackbeard also has the abilities of the Quake Fruit, which just makes the possibilities of what his kit could look like even more fun. Plus, he's the captain of his own crew, so might as well have his teammates assist in the battlefield. Ken Kaneki. Honestly, when thinking about Ken, I was heavily inspired by Venom's kit in Marvel Rivals. Jump in, grab people with your tentacles, and use some kind of ability to increase survivability. Ken Kaneki, being a ghoul, could have some kind of lifesteal effect in his kit, allowing him to participate and survive in battles much longer. Also, for his ultimate, I think it'd be funny if just a bunch of steel beams drop down from the sky. They're not going to hit Ken Kaneki, but they'll hit all the enemies around him. Endeavor. Every game needs some kind of fire-based character, and in anime, there's a lot of really cool ones to choose from. Portkis D-Ace, Roy Mustang, Ren Goku. But I don't know, I think Endeavor just sounded perfect for this game because all the other fire characters would most likely just be a DPS hero, and I kind of want to switch it up. I don't actually recall any character in a hero shooter being an aerial tank, so honestly, let's make him the first one. Endeavor can play both on the ground, protecting his team, and take to the skies, shooting down fireballs and meteors. Biscuit Kruger. Tennis, why did you add her in the game? You got a problem with female representation? I almost went through this entire tank list without having a single female on here. That's crazy. To be fair though, I couldn't really think of any other anime female characters that could actually be in the tank slot and it makes sense. Biscuit from Hunter x Hunter is a beast, a character I've always liked. She is crazy strong and dummy powerful. Plus, she doesn't actually look like this frail, cutesy girl. This is what her real form looks like. And you cannot tell me that she doesn't look like a tank. That's all the characters I chose to be a part of the tank class. Who would you main? Now let's move on to the next class of characters, the supports. Starting off with Kaguya. Love is war, and I just felt like this war needed some love. What? Kaguya, though she doesn't have any real cool powers in the show, she has a bunch of fun abilities that we could pull from and add to her kit. She's incredibly good at archery, so we're gonna have her in the back line, constantly shooting people, damaging enemies, and healing people with her bow. Also, she could have some fun abilities centered around charming her opponents. Plus, her ultimate ability could release a flurry of heart-shaped balloons. If you know, you know. Also, I kind of want Chica to be in her kit somehow. Like, maybe you send out Chica to just annoy the enemy team until they die. Nurse Joy. I think this is a really fun, bizarre, though quite an obvious pick. The go-to character everyone has to visit when their Pokemon has fainted. Nurse Joy's entire kit can be centered around setting up different healing stations to keep her allies alive. Plus, for some extra bit of fun, whenever she's in danger, she could call upon Brock to come and save her. Because we all know this dude is definitely gonna do it. You could also utilize her Pokemon Chansey for some fun abilities. And with items like potions and revives being in the world of Pokemon, I feel like you could easily give that to Nurse Joy and have her throw it out at her allies. Or bring people back from the dead. Kid Gohan. This is my favorite character in the Dragon Ball franchise, so obviously I needed to add him into this game. Gohan is a very kind-hearted, very sweet kid who really wants to make sure everybody around him is okay. Gohan's main goal as the support would be to keep his allies alive, but I also think it'd be fun to have a passive ability where every time he sees an ally die, he gets stronger. Gohan could also choose between staying on the ground or flying in the sky, sending down little Chi Blast. And if the moment comes where all of his allies do die, Gohan, with the help of the 7 Dragon Balls, is gonna summon the dragon Shenron to come in and revive his entire team. That sounds a little busted, but every hero shooter has this type of character. So I think it's fine. Isagi. A good roster of supports can't just have a bunch of characters solely focused on healing their allies. There's other things for these supports to do, like increasing damage, shielding their allies, or even increasing their teammates' speed on the field. So Isagi, the soon-to-be world's best striker himself, is entering the roster, with a primary focus on making his team play even faster. Isagi will want to play around allied teammates while waiting for opportunities to stand out for himself. Isagi is an expert at direct shots, so just having him standing still, charging up a shot, and then kicking it down the field to hit an enemy, that just sounds awesome. Plus, I think it's really silly just in the midst of all these powerful shonen characters and gods fighting with one another for just like this little high school boy to be running around with a soccer ball. Naruto. What? You put Naruto in the support class? Yeah, I did. Deal with it. If you want to play your favorite MC, you gotta pick support, buddy. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. That's a lie. I made the rules for this one. Click support, lock in support, and heal me. Naruto has so many abilities and it gives him the potential of being in honestly any of the 3 classes, but I think support just sounded the most fun. Sending out a combination of shadow clones and Rasen shurikens to damage the enemy while sharing chunks of his chakra to his teammates to heal them, it sounds perfect. Naruto is also just a character focused on being there for his friends and inspiring them, so having Naruto being a character literally protecting his allies and giving them ways to increase damage output just made sense. A big issue with having a roster of characters as stacked as this one is that all of the A-list picks, they just make sense to be in the DPS section. So finding creative ways to take them and put them in other classes, that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm trying to do. Mob from Mob Psycho. Shields. Lots and lots of shields. Mob's abilities in the anime aren't the most clear. Like, we know there's a combination of psychic and telekinetic abilities in there, but we never actually get a full explanation on it. One of Mob's greatest strengths is shielding himself from incoming damage, so I'd want Mob's kit to be centered around that. Plus, towards the end of season 1, Mob has a moment where he showcases the ability of transferring his powers to someone else, so let's add that into his kit as well, shielding and amplifying his allies' abilities on the battlefield. And when his ultimate is ready to use, you already know what's gonna happen. Sailor Moon. This is an incredibly iconic character in the anime space. I didn't really know much about her prior to making this video, so I did some research and oh my god, this girl is literally God. Like, she could probably beat Goku. So obviously, to be able to include her in this game, we're gonna have to heavily nerf her. When reading through her ability list, I stumbled upon this weapon, the Moon Stick, which has healing abilities. This is perfect. So that's why she's a healer, and I don't really have much more to say. Chopper. Every game needs its mascot character, and out of all the characters in anime that I think are adorable, I think Chopper is the most adorable. Some of you guys right now might be saying, oh my god, what? You have multiple One Piece characters in this roster. That's not fair. Leave some room for some other characters from other series. You're right. You are very right. But I hate to break it to you. One Piece is literally my favorite series ever, and I want to let you know right now, Chopper is not the last One Piece character you're going to see on this roster. Chopper is the medic of the Straw Hat crew, so he obviously is perfect for the support class. Chopper has this one scene where he's sitting on top of Law's head, so I just think it'd be really adorable if Chopper had the ability to ride on top of his teammates during the battle. Chopper ate the human fruit, which gives him access to a bunch of different transformations that could easily make his kit that much more exciting. Plus, for his ultimate ability, he could munch on that rumble ball and turn into the monster point. Ho ho ho. If this game was real, honestly, I'd probably main Chopper. Thorfinn. Let me tell you a little bit about Thorfinn. He is a guy who has no enemies. Thorfinn, last time we saw him in the anime, came to the realization that fighting and bloodshed is just pointless. Nobody needs to get hurt for people to get their way or to get along. Still, the world isn't going to bend the knee and follow his flimsy ideals. So in this game, Thorfinn is going to have to fight for it. Thorfinn's kit won't have any abilities that can actually damage the opponent, but he'll be able to stop enemies in their tracks. Thorfinn is an expert in one-on-one combat, so stunning and evading enemies would be a great majority of what this character would do. He will actively patch allies up and focus on spreading the idea to the enemy team that they have no enemies. Nobody has any enemies. Now let's move on to the most popular class in any one of these games, the DPS class. Starting it off with my GOAT, the future king of the pirates, Monkey D. Luffy. Okay, I have a huge bias towards this character, but putting that aside, this is a character that literally needed to be in this game. Monkey D. Luffy is a fan favorite character, and if he wasn't here, people would riot. Also, his moveset in anime is just really unique and would add such a fun playstyle. With the ability to stretch his body like rubber, Luffy could be a Spider-Man type character swinging in and out of the battlefield, grabbing onto enemies and launching them away. Luffy has the ability to puff himself up with air, ricocheting incoming projectiles back at his opponents. Plus, when his ultimate is ready, he's gonna activate Gear 5, completely enhancing the entire moveset. I would want him to be a pretty solid character to pick up, but really difficult to master. And I would really love it if there was hundreds of memes that came out of people just yelling at their teammates, telling them to switch off of Luffy. That would be awesome. Ichigo. Now, I'm not actually a Bleach fan. It's the only series in the big three I've never seen. Hey, don't worry, I'm gonna get around to it one day. Ichigo is gonna be our sword wielder hero, running around the battlefield, slashing through opponents and screaming, "Bon!" Right? He does that, right? I don't know. I'm pretty sure he also has some kind of form change ability, so we'll add that to his kit as well. There's a lot you could do with his inclusion, and you definitely need to include him because people, again, would riot. Guts and Puck. Guts, I really want to just be horrifying. He's gonna be someone who will benefit heavily from being around his team, but honestly, I don't really want him to play around his team. With the inclusion of Puck constantly hovering around him and assisting and healing Guts when he's in critical condition, Guts is going to be a tanky beast shaping the battlefield how he sees fit. With the giant Dragon Slayer sword by his side, he will plow through enemies. You don't want to be caught in a 1v1 scenario with this guy because he is going to win. Power. Or is it Powder? Powder? No, Powder is Arcane. A mixture of a ranged and close combat character. Power, being the Blood Devil, is going to focus on shooting her blood onto enemies, poisoning them, or turning her blood into different weapons to beat her opponents in close combat scenarios. Denji obviously could have been an adequate replacement for the Chainsaw Man representation in this game because he's literally the main character of that series, but I just thought it'd be so much more fun if Power was in the game as opposed to Denji, another character that would just walk up to people and slash at them. Gojo. This character is honestly in the game because of his popularity. Plus, I needed to figure out some way to get the female demographic to play the game, and this was the only thing I could think of. Gojo is going to be a character focused on raining down damage from above. Blue, red, purple, throw it all onto the battlefield. In the series, Gojo is like literally one of the most overpowered characters ever. So he's gonna heavily be nerfed to actually be in this game. Like that thing he does with the infinity barrier, how incoming projectiles just don't hit him. Yeah, we're stopping that. That's not gonna happen because that actually breaks the game. His ultimate is gonna be the domain expansion. This will probably cause people to just be slower in game. I think that's fair. Plus, I think just the animation of it activating would be so cool. Ladies, what do you think? Will you play the game? Okarun and Momo. These are some of the newest anime characters to make a splash on the scene. I thought about having these two characters as separate characters inside of the game, but I feel like they just make more sense being together. Momo is going to spend the entirety of the game riding on top of Okarun. While he is quickly running around the battlefield, Momo is going to be sending out astral punches onto any enemy she sees. These guys are going to serve as our speedster hero class, with the goal of being hard to hit and very, very quick. They could also carry Turbo Granny around, throwing her at opponents, causing some kind of stunning effect. I have an idea of what their ultimate could look like, but the anime isn't there yet, and I'm someone who reads the manga. I don't want to spoil people, so we'll just leave it at that. Goku. Yeah, of course Goku was going to be in this game. Duh. Goku is going to be a scaling hero that gets stronger the more kills he gets. I want him to start off the game in his basic form, but then as he gets more kills, he'll go through each of the different Super Saiyans. But if you die, you reset back to the basic form. Goku is dummy strong in the anime, so yeah, I needed some way to nerf him. Don't get me wrong though, I still want him to pack a punch. A skilled Goku player should be able to carry the team on their back, and a bad one should probably switch to support. Gon and Killua. Gon and Killua are going to be our DPS hero focused on getting into the enemy backline. The characters are going to appear similar to how Cloak and Dagger appears in Marvel Rivals, with the two of them switching between one another. When you switch to Killua, you're going to be a lot faster on the battlefield, running past enemies and stunning them in place, whereas when you switch to Gon, it's time to mess the enemy team up, sending out a combination of Jock and Rock, Paper, and Scissors. This duo is going to be a high skill ceiling character, and they'll have a unique moveset depending on which character you're actually playing as. In every scenario, I want players to be constantly thinking, who's better suited for this, Gon or Killua? Inosuke. Yeah, we needed some kind of Demon Slayer character in this game. Another Swords class character, but I want them focused on chopping down shields and the front line. Inosuke is going to be a dangerous threat to the enemy team, jumping at them and rapidly slashing away at them. Out of all the characters in the Demon Slayer roster that could have been in this game, I just felt like adding Inosuke would be the most fun. Anya. She's going to serve as the spy class in this game, sneaking around the battlefield, catching enemies by surprise. She's been closely watching her father, figuring out all of his spy techniques, and now it's time for her to put it to use. Anya's gonna have a combination of spy equipment that she stole from her father to stun and disable enemy abilities. To battle, she's gonna have a pouch full of peanuts by her side, ready to throw at the enemies, and Bond, her dog, will probably be in the kit as well in some fashion to protect her. And then when her ultimate is ready, she's gonna call upon Yor and Twilight to enter the battlefield as well. So the entire family is gonna be there. I just think it sounds sick. I think it would look so cool. Ed and Ein. These two are going to be our tech-savvy gadget hero, setting up different traps and turrets to annoy the enemy team. Ed is going to focus on tinkering, while Ein will bite onto enemies, stunning them, or maybe we could like put a little turret on his back and he could walk around with a turret. I think that's cool. A good Ed and Ein player should have a solid understanding of every map and know where to place down those little gadgets to just be the most effective. Usopp. Okay, this is the final One Piece character in the roster. I'm so sorry that there's so many of them, but the series is just so good, dude. Also, I just really needed a sniper in this game, and there's like no anime characters that use a sniper, dude. Usopp is going to be in the backline, picking off opponents he sees out of position. With the usage of his observation hotkey, he's going to be able to look through walls and set up shots, getting ready to take out enemies who turn the corner. Close range, he'll have a lot of stunning attacks, thanks to his plant abilities he gained after the time skip. I think he would be really fun to play. Also, he's from One Piece, so that just makes him awesome. Ash Ketchum. There's literally endless possibilities you could have with adding a character like this. With over 1,000 Pokemon being in the Pokemon universe, Ash could literally send out any of them. Don't get me wrong, that sounds awesome. Like, I would love if that were to happen, but I get that, like, we probably shouldn't do that for this game, and so we'll just keep it simple for right now. In Super Smash Bros. As a kid, I always got really frustrated whenever I would pick Pokemon Trainer because I want to play as Pokemon Trainer. I don't want to play as Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard. So in this game, when you choose Ash Ketchum, you are entering the battlefield as Ash Ketchum. Ash is going to run around the field sending out Pokemon for different occasions. Pikachu to stun enemies, Lapras to freeze people, Snorlax to block enemies off, Charizard to burn people. Ash is going to be a jack of all trades with an insane arsenal at his disposal. I think he would just add such a fun mix-up to the chaos. I know there's a lot of people missing from this list. If you had 5 characters you wanted to be in this game, who would it be? If this video gets to 2,000 likes, I'll assume you guys liked it and I'll do a part 2. Anyway, subscribe down below to become a citizen of Tennis Town. I'll see you and go watch some of my other videos.